I'd like to call this meeting of Newberry Township Supervisors to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'm sorry, Rob. We're going to start off. We need to make I need a motion to add an item to the agenda. It has to do with a resolution that we found out that two or so this afternoon that we need to bring up. It's for the police department, some of the grant processes that are going through.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, just so I can elaborate, that we got it late this afternoon. The submission's due March 15th, and the grant writer just gave us that. That's the reason it didn't make it onto the agenda when we posted it.
So I'm looking for a motion to add that item to the agenda.
I'll make a motion that we add that to the agenda.
Looking for a second?
I'll second.
Any more questions? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
You have to allow for public comment with the addition to the agenda.
Oh, okay. Is there any public comment? Okay, with none being there, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the ayes have it. We'll,
Mr. Chairman, that'll become item K under new business.
also need to mention that there was an executive session held on February the 15th at 6 p.m., and it was to discuss personnel and the handbook. Okay, we had an executive session earlier this evening. In that executive session, we discussed real estate transactions. Okay, and now public comment. Mr. Shearer, want to go ahead?
All right, well, good evening. So this evening I'd like to talk a little bit about kind of the services we provide that we have been providing to many of our municipal clients around the Commonwealth when it came time to exploring the idea of potentially monetizing one of its assets. And so I have a little presentation that I think you all have that, again, I just want to hit on some of the highlights for you this evening, and happy to answer any questions you may have. So as far as who we are, PFM, Public Financial Management, based here out of Harrisburg and Philadelphia, but I'm out of the Harrisburg office. We represent just local governments basically across the Commonwealth and across the nation. So whether it's from Commonwealth level down to counties and cities and states and boroughs and townships and sewer and water authorities and other economic development authorities, that's our clientele. And you can see on the first page there sort of where we have ranked on the left-hand side with various different traditional financial advisory transactions, and on the right-hand side is kind of going back to 1998 or so as far as where we placed ranked number one among our peers in these different categories. So we've been around for a long time, only service clientele made up of local governments and nonprofits. And so one of the things, again, that I kind of specialize in is not only do I represent kind of a diverse group of municipal clients, but also work a lot on the water and wastewater side of things as well, whether it's a township-owned system or whether there's an authority that may run the system. Kind of really gotten familiar with the inner workings from the financial aspect of these various utilities. And so we've had quite a few of our municipal clients asked us about exploring the idea of looking into this idea. First off, what we need to do is understand what kind of asset we're actually looking at. So typically we move forward with our engagement under three different phases. The first phase is what we call the limited scope valuation, where we come in and assess the overall value on a kind of a high level basis, the potential value of the asset. Then if the township wanted to proceed at that point in time, then we start kind of a long, very competitive, thorough due diligence process to give you all the proper information you need to make an informed decision one way or another. And that starts then phase 2 of our engagement, which first we want to see if there's interested parties out there that would be interested in a monetization, whether that's a sale or some type of long-term lease. Go through an RFQ process, and then ultimately that leads us to sending out an RFP, a request for bid, if you decided to continue to explore to get to that point. If we basically, the phase 2 would end sort of once bids would be received by the team, and then phase 3 would commence if the township decided to move forward with one of the proposals or one of the bids received. The key thing to stress is that this is just an exploration process. So no decision has been made, no minds have been made up yet as far as what to do or what not to do. This is really just kind of starting our phase 1 contract that you've seen is basically just the start of this exploration phase. We've had some clients go through the process, kind of go all the way through the process and consummate a transaction for one reason or another. They have all different unique circumstances. We've had other clients that have kind of gone through whether very preliminary parts of the process or all the way through the end of the process and have decided not to move forward with a transaction. And we have others right now that are still kind of in the process of evaluating and exploring this idea. So again, this is in no way, if you do decide to move forward with phase 1, which is just that limited scope valuation, this is in no way committing nor binding the board that you're going to be selling or monetizing the system. This is just kind of getting the facts together to make an informed decision. So I've been working with municipal clients for about 10 years on these kind of transactions. And so it's, we've done the most of these here in the Commonwealth as more and more entities are looking at these. And again, if you do decide you want to move forward, we advocate strongly a very thorough and competitive process to again make sure that you're doing your due diligence and that the bidders that may be interested are also doing their due diligence as well. So again, very kind of competitive, transparent, and rigorous process that we would undertake if you did want to move then to the further steps, phase 2 and on. On page 5 of the handout, a couple of the key things that we like to hit on early on as you're potentially entertaining this idea that come up at different meetings along the way. Number 1 are rates. If you do decide you want to move forward with the process, what will happen to your utility rates, to the wastewater rates? So that's something we look at very closely, and we'll do various analyses along the way once we get into the later part of the process of if the township kept the system, what the long-term rates would look like. Again, if you kept the system, and then compare that to what they could potentially look like if you did decide to move forward with some sort of monetization. So we want to make sure everyone's fully aware of the potential impact to the rates. Obviously, purchase price is one thing, but the rates are just as important. There's ways to kind of mitigate rate increases in this process that we can build into the documents if we decide that makes the most sense here for the township. But again, rates are obviously very important when looking at this kind of transaction. Employees, also very important, understanding that the township does have some amount of employees dedicated to the system. We obviously take that very seriously. I've worked with very many of these municipalities that have undertaken kind of this process. And what we typically do is make it or have it mandated in a document that if you do decide to move forward and consummate a transaction, that all employees would move over to the buyer at comparable compensation, comparable benefits, things along those lines. So again, we make sure that the employees of the system are treated extremely fairly and that it's pretty much automatic as we draft the documents that a requirement is to go over to the buyer as part of the transaction. And then lastly, purchase price on page 5, that's obviously key as well in these kind of transactions. But we like to look at everything holistically. So we look at purchase price, we look at rates, but then we also look at how this impacts the citizen here. When I say citizen of the township, not only the ratepayer of the utility system, but also the taxpayer of the township as well. So we ultimately kind of look at all the information to make sure that everyone has the needed information, again, to make a decision whether or not it makes sense for this township. Page 6 kind of gets a little bit more into the process. Again, phase 1, we're looking at the valuation part. That typically takes about 1 to 3 months to move forward with that, and that's its own separate engagement. And then phase 2, which again, as I mentioned before, is sort of from the RFQ all the way through the RFB process. That's about a 4 to 6 month process, give or take a little bit. And then if you did decide you want to accept the bid, phase 3 could be anywhere from a couple months to over a year to actually come to successful completion. And again, it's very important to note that all through those 3 phases, you have the ability, if you do decide to go through all 3 phases, to pull the plug on the transaction. Well, let me just step back on it. It's really all the way up to acceptance of the bid is when you have the ability to kind of stop at any point in time before the board would vote on any sort of ordinance to accept something, and that again would be start of phase 3. So whether it's in the first inning or the third inning or the ninth inning, you have the ability, because this is an exploration process, to stop the process again at any point in time. And then maybe just to kind of hit on one other, expand a little bit on the timeline. Again, if you did decide you want to move forward, this sort of puts into a little bit more definition, a little bit more parameters, the 3 different phases. Now, again, this page here, page 11, is probably the quickest that we could be able to move. This always is massaged as time goes on, whether it's because of our workload or whether it's because of the township's demands or whether it's because of the bidder's demands or those that are part of the process. We need to keep the timeline very flexible to make sure all the key stakeholders are able to review the information and gather the information and analyze the information. But this is basically just showing up at the top that phase 1 would basically be February through April, so a couple-month process if you decided you want to move to that valuation standpoint. And then if you did decide you want to move forward, say in April with phase 2, continue the exploration with the RFQ to see if anyone's actually interested and start garnering more information. Again, that would commence in April. And, we'd like to be in a position to have proposals being looked at maybe at the very end of this calendar year if everything went smoothly. More than likely, it might bleed into the early part of next year for consideration of proposals. And then again, the closing could vary, be a couple-month closing, or it could be well over a year, depending on what kind of proposal that you would decide, if you would decide to move forward, what that proposal would look like. So again, not committing the township to anything this evening. This is just kind of the initial discussion for more or less the phase 1 contract to move forward with that valuation. This gives you a general idea of the 3 phases that we would lead the township through if you decided to move forward with all 3 phases. And again, this is just an exploration of the township's asset, of the potential reuse of the value of it. So with that, be happy to answer any questions you may have.
All good? Thank you, sir.
You bet, thank you.
Is there anybody in the public have any questions, quick? Okay, thank you.
Very good, thank you.
Mr. Crone?
Good evening. My name is Michael Crown. I'm at 170 Bobby Jones Drive. 2 things I'd like to talk to you all today about. But before I do that, I do want to thank you guys for respecting the Sunshine Act now and letting us know what's happening in the executive sessions and everything. Like, that's awesome. It should have been done before. Don't know why it wasn't, but thank you for getting on track with all of that. Secondly, the 4-way at Yoakumtown and Red Mill. I'm sure you're aware of the letter from PennDOT saying that the temporary flashing red signs that were installed, or red lights that were installed there, were not up to code. We weren't supposed to put them there. They've since been taken down. My question is, why were they put up if they weren't up to code? Who made the decision, and how much of our taxpayer money was spent installing them and removing them when they weren't supposed to be there to begin with? They were never approved to begin with, and nothing was submitted to PennDOT to put them up.
Well, I'll tell you right up front, they were given to the township.
Okay.
It was an attempt to try to help improve the intersection, but apparently everybody got upset because we're trying a couple different things to make the intersection safer. As far as the cost, I think we had an hour involved.
Okay, well, you're saying everybody got upset. It's PennDOT that's telling you that it wasn't up to code.
We
You've
took
sat
it
here
down.
numerous times and
They're-
said PennDOT won't approve this, PennDOT won't approve that. My question is, why are we doing township work without first doing the due diligence to make sure that it is legal to put it up before so? Because
I-
people had
I-
made other suggestions to you, and you shut them down, saying that PennDOT would not approve them. When you find an easy out, you do it without PennDOT's approval, and then try to just ask for forgiveness after the fact.
Okay? Are the lights there now?
No, they're not. But
Okay.
why was it done without making sure that it was legal and within code to do first? No, we don't have an answer for that?
We don't have an answer for that. You got it? What else do you have?
So
Well,
much for
Mike,
transparency.
We do have the signs that we did play, or did order.
I understand that we ordered the LED ring ones, which
Correct.
are in use in other places and
We're just trying to get
should be legal. And I understand that it was done with good intentions. However, it was done without the due diligence to make sure that it was allowed to be done first.
Okay, it's done. We apologize. We're going to move on.
Okay.
Okay?
I wasn't
Sec-
involved in it, but I think it was an honest mistake. I mean, I don't think anyone was
Yeah, I don't
intentionally
think
trying
that
to
we
waste
tried
money.
to pull any.
Okay.
anybody's eyes.
The second issue is I was notified today that there's a right to know request done for a letter that was sent to me back in September from Mr. Miller, and there is information on that letter that was redacted. I want to make it part of public knowledge that I have absolutely no problem with any information from this being fully transparent in all right to know requests. And with that being considered, this letter that Mr. Miller sent to me almost a month after the incident, and only after that I addressed it to the board publicly because he refused to speak to me on camera about the issue personally, which I also talked to the chief afterwards. I have every right to record government employees, public employees within the bounds of performing their duties. He refused to speak to me as a member of the public, and then wanted to send me a letter threatening me with arrest or possibly 2 years in jail and $5,000 fines for violating Title 18, 5101 for, obstruction of government operations. However, I never did such a thing. And I have video proof of it online for everybody to see, and it's been available to see the entire time. And I do not appreciate having threats and threatening letters sent to me for exercising my rights and doing things that I am allowed to do. I have a copy of the obstructing government operations right here, and it clearly says that I am only committing a misdemeanor if I intentionally obstruct the administration of government administration and law by force, physical violence, or breach of official duty. I did none of those things. I tried to ask you why you provided incorrect information on a right to know law request. And instead of talking to me like a reasonable person, you immediately started screaming at me because I had a video camera with me. You know how many cameras are in this building? But you had a problem with mine, and you refused to speak to me, and this was the result of it, a threatening letter claiming that I did things that I did not do. With that being said, that letter is a deprivation of rights under the color of law. It is a violation of Section 242, Title 18 of the U.S. Code, which means any government person who tries to prevent me from exercising my rights under the color of law, threatening me with arrest for doing things that I'm illegally allowed to do, will be responsible for this. You cannot use the township to defend yourself in the litigation that will be filed for this. You need to start respecting our rights and do your job properly.
Mr. Chairman, as far as I know, when we last checked the administrative email, there were no other public comments to read tonight.
Anybody else have any public comment for tonight? Okay, moving on. Looking for a motion to approve the minutes from January 25th, 2022.
I'll make a motion.
Looking for a second.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we're going to go into We have nothing for land development tonight, Bill? Okay. I guess we'll start with reports. Steve, you're up.
Good evening, Board. Evening, residents. I'm going to start out with the public safety report. There's nothing to add to the EMS report or the fire reports unless you have any questions. I can have them speak to them. Just want to remind the residents that Newberry Township and Goldsboro have their bingos every other weekend, so stop by and play some bingo.
Can, yeah, speaking of bingo, can make sure that Laura gets that information so that it can be put on the website? Thank you.
And for the police department, in January, the department handled 1,088 calls. Listing those calls by criteria, we had 1 burglary, 7 thefts, 3 motor vehicle thefts, 3 drug offenses, 12 DUIs, 3 simple assaults, 1 sexual assault, 4 domestic-related harassments, 2 other harassments, and 8 all other offenses. Additionally, they responded and investigated 1,044 calls for service, including 17 domestic-related incidents, 25 traffic accidents. They issued 82 traffic citations, 118 warnings, 1 non-traffic citation, and made 26 misdemeanor and/or felony arrests. I don't really have anything else to add to my report other than weather's getting nice. People are going to be out moving around. You know, I just encourage people that once it starts getting warmer, people like to drive a little bit faster. However, if you're driving faster, that means there's kids out there playing in their yards, so just be very, very cognizant of that. I think I have that.
Okay, anybody got any questions for the chief? Thank you, chief.
Thank you.
James, do you have anything, solicitor?
My report's been submitted, no further report.
Okay. Bill?
All my items are under new business tonight.
Okay. Scott? Okay. Marcus, zoning? Okay. Yeah, there he is. Brent, do you have anything to add? Okay. That was the sewer report. Tony, under manager?
Just one thing to add, Mr. Chairman. I was asked the last meeting how many right-to-know requests Mr. Pop had done last year in 2021, and I went back and added them up. It was 135, and that's all I had to add.
Okay. Is that it for you? Yes, sir. Jane, do you have anything to add to your report? That's the treasurer's report. Supervisors, Claire?
That the new tax collector is going to start doing taxes March 1st.
Okay.
That's our first time doing it. And I would like to clarify something that Mike Hauk said last month about the E&S plan that was for the properties down the street here,
Okay.
that they got them approved back in 2020,
Okay.
and they were followed up with no problems.
Okay. Rob, got anything?
No, I don't have anything.
Diane?
Nothing.
Maxine?
No.
Just to keep everybody up to date, the first meeting for the fire committee, strategic planning committee for the fire service in the township will be on March the 9th. We thank everybody that signed up and volunteered. And that's really, I think, about, you have anything to add to that?
No, March 9th, 6 o'clock here in the municipal building.
Okay. That's all I have right now. Yeah, I'm timing myself out. Okay, under old business, looking for a motion to release the redacted version of the Mcconnelly Ashbury audit.
I make a motion to release that.
Looking for a second.
I'll second it.
Any comments on that?
I think once people see it, they're going to realize how long ago it has been. Some of the stuff is when there's 20 years old.
And the only other thing I have to say on that is what came out of that audit was basically some bookkeeping errors, some policies that had to be upgraded and changed. It's all been addressed and taken care of, so with that being said, I'm looking for a motion to do that, or we already did that? Yeah, I'm sorry. All right, we're looking for a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Resolution 2022-12 for the Old Trail Sewer Extension. Bill?
Yeah, so this is for the planning module that we'll be submitting to DEP for the sewer extension. We just completed the 30-day public comment period, so now we're moving on to, once we pass this resolution, we can submit the planning module into DEP for review.
Okay, I'm looking for a motion to do that. Okay, I guess I'll make the motion that we do that resolution 2022/12. Looking for a second?
I'll second that.
Any more questions or comments? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Again, dedication of Lexington Estates Phase 2 and 3. Bill?
Yeah, so this is, we've completed all the inspections for the wearing course at this point, so it's really ready to be dedicated. Phase 2 and 3, this would just be for the streets, which is, it's section of Champions Drive, Bluegrass Way, and Madison Way, I believe, of the Phase 2 and 3.
Okay. Okay, so I'm looking for a motion to do the dedication of Lexington Estates Phase 2 and 3 streets.
Explain what dedication, we're adopting it?
We're adopting the road, yes.
Yeah, so now we'll own and maintain.
Scott, did you check them out? You're okay? All right.
Is there speed bumps on those roads?
No.
Because I had complaints about that. A complaint. That there weren't speed bumps. Because people, they have kids playing and people are just zipping through there.
Is there an issue with that?
There's finished, but.
Try plowing around.
So do you think people speed in there? Do you think there should be speed bumps?
Are there speed bumps throughout the development?
There is no signs in there?
There's speed signs, he said.
No, he said there's no signs.
Sir, would you come up to the podium and speak your name, just so we can all hear you? Thank you.
Now we put you in a spot, huh?
That's what you get for speaking up.
I know, right?
Hey, our microphones are working good too, so.
Yeah, I'm not gonna make out with it. So. I'm Jason Byers. I live at Lexington Estates. Sam is the president, and I'm the vice president over there. So, yeah, we just wanted to make sure that it was getting dedicated, because Marcus has been helping us out with it, so.
Is that something we have to do before we dedicate this, to make sure the signs are up?
Was there signs in that?
Well,
in that
there's
plan?
there's already one phase that's been dedicated for the last 2 years.
Right, well, we're talking speed signs.
Yeah, there's
And there's
never
none
there's
in
never
that?
been speed signs.
Yeah.
No. Mm-mm. It's not complete. The neighborhood's not. It's not completely
The
finished.
street
yet,
signs
though,
and
either.
stop signs are up, but there was no
Yeah.
requirement for speed limit signs.
There's no
on the
speed
plan.
limit signs.
Yeah.
That's
I mean, I don't see speed limit signs in too many developments.
no. Mm-mm. I don't think speed bumps would
So what's the
Very
speed
good.
limit then?
Hey,
be. It depends.
Chief, how's that
25.
handled?
25.
5, yeah.
Yeah, should be 15, but
Well, 25 is under the state law.
right.
I try to refrain from mentioning anything about
I'm
PennDOT.
the guy
I mean,
outside telling them to slow down. It's okay.
Yeah.
And I have a hairdryer. So. Get him on that too.
So,
So. Oh, it works. Yeah.
it does?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes.
Is there anything else on this?
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Just keep us updated.
Claire, just so you
Sending
know,
out.
just so you know, for the before the dedications, I always invite Scott out and we go through the streets.
Well, one
for-
time it's dedication, one time's adopting it. I'm sort of confused. It was two different terms we use.
Dedication.
Okay.
is right term, sorry.
Okay, so we're looking for a motion to do the dedication on phase 1 and 2, or 2 and 3, I'm sorry.
I'll make a motion for the dedication of the Lexington Estates Phase 2 and 3.
Looking for a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I just have a comment or a question.
Sure.
Is there a reason there's never speed limit signs? Like, why is that not a requirement?
Just in the ordinance, I don't think there was a requirement for it, so that's why it's not on the plan and wasn't.
I mean, does it seem like that's maybe something we should address? It seems like there should be a speed limit in these neighborhoods.
Yeah.
There should be at least one at the entrance going in and out. Yeah. Long lanes 25, and then long lanes 25, and people may wait 25 there.
Long lane.
Okay. Can,
I just mean for future,
yeah, for future
for
stuff.
future things, maybe we should think about requiring speed limit signs in those
Okay.
neighborhoods. I would
Is that,
think.
that's just a change to our planning?
Yeah, that, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
That's why I was asking, could we force them to put the signs up before we dedicate it?
If you do that, then the HOA can change.
Yeah, I think,
Save some room. So, if the other sections are in place,
Yes, ma'am. You need to come up to the microphone, please.
Hey, I'm Sue Strander. I live on Rolling Hills Court, and I just couldn't sit still any longer. I have to ask these questions. You was talking about Lexington Estates that has no speed limit signs. And we're sitting on Rolling Hills Court, and we're told that we had to have no parking signs, no outlet signs, and speed limit signs. We're 18 homes on Rolling Hills Court. And someone, and I don't know who, but someone has come out, put up the stakes, and put the no outlet and the no parking on the street signs, but there's no speed limit signs there. So I just don't understand, first of all, who makes the decision? We were told that it came from the developer, and that when the plans were originally submitted for approval, that was what was stipulated, that those things had to be on there. And I'm thinking that that was possibly the county, I don't know for sure. But it's very confusing to the homeowners when we don't understand, when things are changed, like the whole third phase of our subdivision was done away with, and yet we're stuck with these things, and we're gonna have the 25, I'm assuming, 25 mile per hour speed limit signs on there. And I think
Scott.
that's a great
But-
thing.
Well,
But
the-
why will we have it and they not have it?
no, well, the no parking is stipulated by the width of the road in the ordinance, so,
The length of the road or
the width.
the width of the road?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's nothing, and that's township?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's township. Okay, is township also the no outlet and the speed limit signs?
Yeah, we'd be the ones that would install those on.
They're gonna, how about our highway foreman is gonna look into that for you, ma'am?
Okay,
Okay?
thank you.
Yep.
Very much.
Okay. Next on the agenda is adopt and approve the employee handbook revised edition 2022. Looking for a motion to do that.
I'll make a motion, we adopt the 2022 handbook.
Looking for a second?
I'll second that.
Questions, comments, concerns? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. 2022, looking for a motion for the 2022 Portable Toilet Award for the Township Parks. Tony?
Mr. Chairman, the successful bidder was Walter Services at $4,956.
Okay, looking for a motion?
I'll make a motion that we accept that bid.
Push the button, do it again.
Apologize. I make a motion that we accept that bid, or award that bid.
I'm looking for a second on that motion.
I'll second that.
Any questions or concerns? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Looking for a motion to establish the Police Pension Advisory Committee.
Do we want to explain that a little bit better, or?
You want to do it, or you want me to? Okay. The Police Advisory Committee would be a member of the Police Department, a member of the board, and the Township Manager would be a advisory committee to deal with our pension plan, to keep everybody informed as to what's going on. They cannot make rules, but they can advise the board then on how to go about things with the pension plan. So I'm looking for a motion for that.
I'll make a motion to establish a police pension advisory committee.
Looking for a second?
I'll second that motion.
Any more questions or comments? David?
Yeah, good evening. David Parsons, 201 Hill Drive. How many years would you be looking for? Just the next year, or would it be a period of time? Or how long was the pension? Okay, well, how many years would it be for?
I guess as long as we have a pension plan. Yeah, it's in the police contract, and now we're just making it an official, the police contract states for one of their people to be in it, and we've talked it over with the police department at our last meeting that the police department had with our pension people, and this was easy. That way, the police department, if there's questions, their guys can go to their officer, and we can all meet together then.
No, communication is good.
Yep.
But when does the contract expire? The current contract?
The current police contract?
Yes.
3 years.
No, I mean, like what month? 3 years from now, you mean 25 or
I think
And it's always December 31st.
4 years? So what month does it expire, Chief? All right, so another
that
24.
sounds
Okay.
right.
So that would be just for this current period? Till
Yes.
24, okay.
Yes, unless something changes in the
Sure.
contract.
Okay. All right, and then works well, just continue? Sure. Okay, all right, thank you.
Yep.
Is that not something to just keep running? Like, be included in every contract, I would guess, right?
Probably, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But, I mean, is
Motion-
this something we're going to have to vote on every 4 years, or?
No, I don't know that it's ever been voted on before. We're just trying to get it established so that it's in there. Okay?
Okay.
Well, it was in there, but we just didn't
Right, we
pass
never,
people to do it.
right. So, all in favor signify by saying aye, unless there's more questions, I'm sorry.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, that passes. The seal code advertisement for 2022 road program. Bill?
Yeah, so in my engineer's report tonight is the bid schedule for the 2022 road program. We're looking to, we're authorization to advertise tonight. There's approximately 31 road, or it is 31 roads that we'll be doing a double seal coat on. Our estimate is around $300,000 for that work. And we'd be looking at a bid opening on March 18th, and we'd have it on the agenda for the March 22nd meeting for your review of the bids.
Okay, I'm looking for a motion to advertise the seal coating process.
I'll make a motion that we advertise the seal coating process.
Looking for a second?
I'll second.
Any more questions on that? Yes, ma'am. It's a tar and chip process. I need you to come up to the microphone.
Hello, Vicki Crone, 170 Bobby Jones Drive. The tar and chip process out in our areas is really, really hazardous for motorcycle drivers. And anybody on bicycles, if they have to make quick stops, a car pulls out in front of a bike or whatever, you're gonna skid and you're gonna rip your body to pieces.
Do you have anything to say?
The way we do it, there's not gonna be loose stone laying there, it's just during the process, we keep it swept up. And when this is done, the second layer will be a 1/4 inch stone, and then it will be fog sealed in, so you're not gonna tell the difference really, it'll be a course that's looking like that.
Much better than what we've had previous.
Yeah.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Looking for a motion to have the solicitor engage with PFM Financial Advisors for Phase 1 evaluation agreement.
I'll make a motion that we do so. I make a motion that we do so.
I'm looking for a second.
I'll second that.
Questions or concerns? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Looking for a motion to approve the Phase 1 erosion and sediment controls for the multi-use services building.
I will make a motion that we approve Phase 1 erosion and sediment controls for the multi-use emergency service building.
Looking for a second?
I'll second it.
Any questions or concerns? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Claire, I guess this is yours for discussion on signage for traffic control on
For
Colhane
Colhane
Road.
Road. Numerous complaints from people that live on Colhane Road. If anybody driven on it, you would know why. I'm thinking there's tractor and trailers without the correct GPS unit in their trailer or trucks. They're using a car GPS and they turn on that road and usually end up getting stuck in somebody's driveway, yard, whatever it may be. So we need to get some signs there, kind of like we did on River Road, to put on there so trucks aren't turning on there. And if you do turn on there and it gets stuck in somebody's yard, you're gonna get a fine. So that's, like, get that adopted if we can.
Primarily tractor trailers, not cars, vehicles.
Yeah, this happens pretty often.
It'd just be something like at the top of the bill at Walmart that says tractor trailer, you have to turn around at this point.
Well, the way that is down there, Mike, it's Cypher Road and Colhane. So you have to put a sign probably on Cypher Road both directions that you can't make a right-hand turn or a left-hand turn.
We can put it a little bit before, like the one at Walmart is at the point of no return.
Yes, we'll probably have to put one before the intersection on both sides of Cypher Road and probably one on Colhane Road, just in case you missed them. But I know the biggest problem is the trucks are going that route because they have the wrong GPS unit in their truck. They have a car GPS, and of course a car can go through there, a truck can't. You need to get the correct damn GPS.
Sir, are you looking for a weight restriction or just truck restriction?
I'm guessing the weight restriction would cover everything.
Or do we want to go a weight restriction or a size restriction?
We did a size restriction for River.
Well, Mike, the length goes with the weight, so if it's a 10-ton, the truck's not gonna be able to go in there, so.
And that's what we did, a length for River Road.
Yeah.
We looked at,
Do we have to do an ordinance on that, James?
Yes. We'd have to do an ordinance on that.
so
Okay, let's, you think we should go with a length restriction like we did on?
yeah, I think we'd put together a little report like we did the last time that he could use to write up the ordinance and what the signage would need to be, and go from there. We could present that to you next month.
Looking for a motion to approve James and Bill to get together to come up with an ordinance for proper signage and stuff on Colhane Road and Sipe Road.
I'll make that motion.
Push the button.
Hang on.
I just have a quick question. What do you do with Penn Detroit now? Are they still allow that?
No, this is just a
Wrong road.
restriction for Colhane Road. Yeah, Sipe Road is not going to be restricted. Colhane, just Colhane. Yeah.
We'd end up having signs on
We're
the
just gonna
site.
put signs on Sipe Road so they know not to turn right or left on the Colhane.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're talking about putting signs before Colhane, so is that gonna be confusing for people? Like,
No.
it's gonna-
No, it says a right-hand turn or left-hand turn. Yeah.
Yeah.
Same thing we did down there.
So I'll make a motion that James, our solicitor, draft a ordinance for signage on Colhane Road.
I'll second it.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Looking for a motion to purchase 2 police vehicles for our police department.
What did we getting? We getting pickups or cars?
A pickup and a car.
I know we talked about it. I'll make a motion that we approve purchasing the police vehicles that is needed by the department.
Looking for a second?
I'll second it.
And for everybody out there, this is through the CoStars program, so it doesn't have to, it's a piggyback system that we get through the state, that we can buy vehicles really cheap. They actually have, the truck is in stock somewhere near Philadelphia, and the car is in the same area, so. Yeah. Yep, so, okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, now I'm looking for a motion to adopt Resolution 2022-13. It's a resolution for paperwork for the police department to apply for some grants. 2022-13.
We actually need to vote on this for the proof then?
To do the
It's a resolution, yes.
It's a resolution, so we have to vote on it.
I'll make a resolution that we,
Now you're making a motion.
I'm making a motion that we approve Resolution 20-22-13.
Looking for a second?
I'll second that.
Any questions or concerns?
So this is vehicles in addition to the other two, this grant will cover? So what is it?
Mr. Chairman, yeah, this resolution is for, each grant submission requires a resolution unless it's a federal grant.
There's a-
So this is a state grant submission.
In addition
to the
yes.
other two?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah, this resolution for those wanting to know, we're applying for a training simulator, a police vehicle, a K-9 vehicle, and automatic license plate readers such as like the one we have up near the Walmart, where we applied for grants to possibly buy all of this stuff, so. Anything else? Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the ayes have it. Okay, next is the payment of bills.
I make a motion that we pay the bills as stated. I make a motion that we pay the bills as stated.
I'm
One of
looking,
these days.
I'm looking for a second to pay the bills.
I'll second it.
Any questions or concerns about the bills? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, looking for one more motion, looking for a motion for adjournment.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn. I make a motion that we adjourn the meeting.
I'm looking for a second.
I'll second.
All in favor, questions or concerns? All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? I didn't think there'd be any.